you're having a string of armor in your repertoire, and suddenly the opponent is completely shocked and he doesn't know how he's going to react to it. So this is kind of a situation which I created, where suddenly we have kind of, an excellent amount of strength and we are ready for everything.
Uh, just okay. I mean, can you just once again repeat the incident because I thought there was some problem with streaming. So can you just repeat the incident of Rafael's for this week?
Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting news to, see the Rafales being added into our army and strengthening our defense systems. Actually, it reminded me of an incident where Anand was playing Kramnik in the World Championship match and he started with one d4. He always was an e4 player, and in the first game itself, he played one d4.
D4.
And suddenly, it's like showing that you have prepared some amazing amount of armory and your opponent is completely unaware of it. So that was we are now ready for, for almost all directions.
Correct. I mean, it's a very proud moment for every Indian to have the best best fighter jet in
Yes,
the
and the
world.
amazing thing was it came in so early. People were thinking that it's going to come month or 2 months later, but we just got the delivery quite
Early,
quickly.
yes, yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. So, I'm while you have brought this, I'm also going to bring in a correlation today about what you said, how the best thing affects and inspires people. So, I'm going to correlate that episode in the later part of the episode. I'll tell why, like Rafael, even Tejas is for Gujarat. So let's begin like last time where we left was the you became the national champion, and after becoming
Right.
international master norm you started being a national you used to make the national headlines with your very strong play.
Right.
So I mean you were 2350 plus when you began in 2000 and 2001, and quickly you reached the 2400 level. I mean,
Right.
I have seen a lot of players who struggled after the career graph goes up back to 2400. They have struggled down back to 2200, and then it took a lot of time for them to become an international master and a grandmaster from there. But looking at your consistency, it is amazing. I mean, I was just going through all the statistics and stuff. 2001 to 2004. I'm going to talk about the games and the achievements later, but I
Right.
seriously want to know how were you so consistent between these 3 years where you were between 2400 to 2470,
Yeah. So that way, as see, when you are young and motivated, you are actually working all the time, and then the progress keeps happening. The problem is, as you grow older, there are a lot of things that distract you. It would be higher studies, it could be pressure, it could be a lot of other things. That's why I always believe that by the time you're 18 or 20, you should be able to achieve whatever aims you are, and then you can decide. So I see lots of players who were very hardworking but got stuck in the 2300s and even sometimes 2400s. In fact, I know a lot of players who have made tons of GM norms but even never could get their rating to 2500. You see, that's why it's very important to whatever you are pursuing to not let the other things, the outer factors affect you, whatever the situation is, whatever the age is, and you have to just keep going and pursuing. That is very important. And here, that's why I always said that family support, parental support, your situation around support is very important. Otherwise, all these factors become very difficult for you, especially when you are already 18, 19 and plus.
See, no, I completely understand what you're saying when you talk about motivation and stuff, but uh, the support is an external factor. A lot of players give up, at a very crucial level. So, what kept your self motivation going on to, become a grandmaster, fighting for nearly 3 years, or let's say 6 years, in fact, after the international master title, to become a grandmaster? So, what kept you really going? What inside you, you know? was happening.
So for me, it was very clear that I have to become a grandmaster. So for me, the external factors. See, when you say that they get frustrated, it's not actually real frustration from playing. It is the real frustration comes from the surroundings that are putting pressure on you. See, today, why we see so many young kids by 15, 16 are becoming grandmasters. The main reason is that they are only doing chess and nothing else. See,
Right.
those days it was very, very difficult. You see, we did chess. Those days was not recognized so much.
Yes,
And
I
the basic
understand.
question would be, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I agree.
Imagine a person like Anand. Once we met, he said he was probably the top train in the world. He was traveling in a train, and one of the person co-passengers asked him. So he said, "Okay, I'm a chess player. I'm in top 10 in the world." But he said, "Okay, what do you do?"
Yeah,
So imagine.
he shared that incident. I remember
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, it is not just the individual. It is always when you're pursuing something like this at a crucial juncture, because not everybody is going to become at the age of 14, 15. I started chess at the age of 10. Imagine. Most of the players in my generation started at that time. So by 18, 19, you already have to take decisions regarding your future. So it is a very, very, it's not the frustration from game or not getting results, the frustrations which are surrounding you.
I,
And the biggest example is of Robert Fischer. He was a genius, 20 years ahead of his time. Why did he collapse? It is because of the external
factors.
factors.
Correct.
You see, and that is why I'm saying that your surrounding is extremely, extremely important. Very, very important.
I completely agree. To all the viewers, I'll let you know that today chess coaching has made a lot of money for a lot of upcoming coaches. But when I think Tejas was playing in that era, 98, to get sponsorships to play further, to go abroad, was very difficult than today. So, Tejas, I know that, by 98, you must be around 17, 18. You had to choose your career in terms of whether you want to play chess or stuff. When you became the national champion, I mean, did you really were targeting job from the government? The Air India hired you at that point of time. Being the 11th. I mean, you were not a grandmaster yet. You were just an upcoming prodigy.
Right.
So, how did it motivate you, and how crucial role that played in your life?
Yeah, so see, in 97, when I first got my national under 18 championship, that time Indian Airlines took me on scholarship. That time, Indian Airlines always used to have, in fact, getting scholarship from any of the government companies was very difficult. You had to be absolutely at the top. And then 2000, after I won this national B championship, is in 2001, I finally got a uh, job. So that was very, very important, because at least you have something to back off. The only difference which, looking back now I see is that, in those days, the petroleum companies, the players used to get full day off, whereas I used to have to go half day for work. And those things now become a little bit very tricky when you're pursuing something of very high nature. So, I mean, it was very, very important, because it, helped me to play a few tournaments, but it also took a lot of time and energy at a very crucial point, in a crucial juncture. So it was kind of both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I want to, as you said, that the consistency at that point of time between 2001 to 2004. So you played a lot of crucial tournaments in those years, and like, what was your mindset when you approached for the tournament? So, like, if someone is at international master level and he's preparing to be a grandmaster, so what level of preparations you used to do? What was your psychological? See, the what I believe is that psychological factors make a lot of difference when it comes between international master title to the grandmaster title. So what sort of preparations or what sort of mindset you had in those days?
So this is the problem, right? See, everything had to be trial and error. Today, if somebody wants to become a grandmaster, the path is very clearly laid, what he or she needs to do. Those days, path was not very clear, opportunities were very minimum, and finances were very, very difficult to arrange for. So, what any single opportunity we used to get, we used to try to go out for the maximum. We used to take lots of risks. Now, that was not the right strategy, if I think as of now. because see today what we have is you have 8 to 10 grandmaster tournaments in here, so you don't need to just go blazing from everything. There we used to have an opportunity of playing just 2 3 grandmaster events. So you see, you just try to do something way too much, you're taking risks, and they are going to backfire, because when you're playing 2650s, you're not going to defeat all of them. So it took a lot of time to understand, to re-strategize, to do things differently, and then in like 2003 and 4, I started getting close to my norms, but again missing by half point or 1 point. The biggest difference, which was in 2002, 2003, and between 2003 and 2004, was that I started losing very less. I started to choose wisely against which opponents I should take risks and which opponents I should say, okay, I should be, okay with half point, because it's not just one game. It doesn't matter I defeated 2600 or 2550 or one grandma. I'm not going to get a norm. It is only if I perform consistently for 9 rounds and have that stamina and that energy is when I'm going to get it. So those were the things that it took time. That is why it took like almost 3 years for me to get my final norm. Imagine, by 2001 and December I already had 2 norms. So if I had probably a strong backing, or if I had a strong consistent training and stuff like that, I'm sure I would have been able to achieve in 2002 or 2003.
Right. So I completely understand that part. I mean, there have been times because a lot of players try and get results. They try to force results. You
Right.
brought up a very important point that choosing wisely is very important. I saw
Right.
a lot of statistics where you try to also hold games to draw. I mean, the statistic between 2001 to 2004 is very important because I see that you didn't lose a lot, but there were a lot of draws. So when
Right.
you used to appear for the tournaments at that point of time, what was your real I mean, in terms of preparations before every round, or the mindset you had, goals, every tournament goals, what sort of tournaments you chose, or what sort of tournaments players should choose in that era?
So that, again, as I said, see, today you can choose. You have a lot of options. Those times we don't have options. Whatever is viable, you just pack your bags and start traveling. Okay. So you see, the difference was in where when I qualified for the Indian. I always used to do very well in national Indian championships. I always used to be in like top eights. I was always kind of in the B team of India. And what happened is that time uh, had government of India started supporting at least 6 to 8 players who would get tours to play abroad and improve their this thing. Plus they also used to have training camps by some leading grandmasters of the world for the top 8 players. So everything. So those camps and those events, traveling with all the top players of the country, made a big amount of difference. Because see, I used to travel with Hari Krishna, Ganguly, Abhijit Kunte, Sandeep Panchanda. So all were very Shashi Kiran. So all these guys were already right there. I was just a notch below those things. So, but the experience with them while traveling, while playing, while analyzing games, while being, I was room partners for most of them. So that helped me tremendously. It especially helped in preparing for the opponents, because they used to share a lot of things and info. So those things made a huge difference.
Right. So, any interesting stories at that point of time? Because you had a lot of camps with Ubilava and other coaches. So, any
No,
interesting story?
Ubilava, I never had a camp. Ubilava, I had camp only in 2011.
Okay.
Those days we used to have camp with mostly Vladimiro. He was kind of the coach of the Indian team.
Right.
So we used to have camps with him. Yeah, camps were fun because you see, it was like total dedication to chess. Then, morning and evening we used to have physical activities, or whatever sports we could play table tennis, we could go swimming, we could, play badminton, cricket. We, so it was a very, very structured kind of training program.
Right. So, I one point again, last video also we covered. Do you think that physical fitness in different stages of being a grandmaster in your journey has changed in your regime or any patterns you've developed which you would like to share?
Yeah, so later on, when I could find more time, I started playing lawn tennis a lot, and I mean it really helped in my fitness. And also, you also have to choose your physical activity based on what you like, and based on what your structure is. So with my build and all, I mean, tennis kind of fitted quite perfectly.
Right. So I'm just going to bring up a game which you played against Nadir in Abu Dhabi Open, which is
Right,
2002. Okay.
right.
So can you just really talk about this game because I see
Yeah,
Kings.
so actually there is a story behind this game, and that is why, actually I shared this game in most of the magazines, writing an article. Because the thing is, those days, that was actually my first tournament in Abu Dhabi, and I was kind of, me and Prasad were the only Indians who played that event. So now, as it was kind of my first trip, I was, held up at the airport for 6 hours. Like basically, my every visa is actually kind of a big story. So I will not get into that, but it took me like 6 hours to get out of the immigration. And this game was, postponed because I could not reach. So he was kind of waiting for me. I had not slept, I had nothing. As soon as I reached, and it was from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, it took like 2.5 hours in car. So as soon as I reached, he was ready waiting for me. And I immediately, without getting a room, I think with my suitcase beside my this thing, I started playing this game. So obviously I was very tired, no sleep, nothing. And game went on, Queen's Indian defense, a very normal variation.
Right.
And after 17th move, I think I just made a massive mistake, e5. So he got this move bishop h3.
Right.
So here I went and took a coffee, and I decided that, okay, this is not done, because I'm trying to get my GM norm, and in the first turn only
Yeah.
it is a
I,
disaster. I can just fly back.
I'm sorry, this is a very important point you just brought up over here.
Right.
So, move number 17, when you look at this position, this looks quite okay and quite theoretical and quite looks equal. Okay.
White
Here,
is slightly better, yeah.
yeah,
It's not.
slightly better. I mean, still no major advantage, or
Yeah.
even at that level. And here
Yeah.
you make a mistake.
Yeah.
So during the game,
Right.
you immediately find out that, oh, I've
Mm.
just made a mistake and this may be a positional issue,
Right.
and I'm getting tired. So what exactly you went to have a coffee thinking about that I need a break. So
Right.
lot of players, like even when I play during the game, you kept on keep on telling yourself, oh, I made a mistake, oh, I made a mistake. And sometimes you just succumb in that entire position, you just give the game away. But how
Right.
could you differentiate, and how that coffee break is also important, while if you think that these things can happen in the game?
So basically, you have to have the approach that you have to think afresh.
Right.
Okay, whatever has happened has happened. This is the chance you can. You have to make the best in every situation, right? So here, after Bishop h3, I came up with an idea that instead of giving action, I will just sacrifice my queen for two pieces.
Oh, okay.
So basically, in 2001, 2002, I had lots of very interesting games where I was able to create quite a lot of ideas, different ideas, which were quite which uh, were quite successful and went my way.
Right.
So here I have given queen for just two pieces, but the thing is his two rooks are in the uh, s- center, but the center is closed, and it will take him time. And plus, normally your opponents tend to get relaxed if win a queen, and that is exactly what happened, because he had to find the right idea and right plan. Like b4 was a very very bad decision by him, and now suddenly all my pieces just
Act as.
crash
Right.
him in the center. The minor pieces just take over the entire position, and he was forced to give his piece back. And now it's just quite easy.
Right. So, I mean,
Yeah,
this was an important breakthrough, and we can even see over here that you were around 2450, so 50 points away. Here, we are
right.
still talking about a game back in 2002. So,
2002 I had one very interesting game also. You can show if you have with DV Prasad, where I played a brilliant idea.
one second, just
And I will also talk about the importance of studies then.
one second. Let me just pull out the game. That is 2002.
2002, yeah.
Okay, I have the game. One second.
Yeah. So here, after,
One second. Just
yeah,
one
okay.
minute. Okay, so we have the position in front. Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, I see actually the previous game only
One second,
on
one
my
second,
screen.
one second. I'll just bring it up. So you can just, I'll just bring out a position in a second. I mean, you can just,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, so it was, you see, it's very important to, solve lots of studies. Most of the top players do that. Because it's not that the same kind of position will occur, but the main idea is that your brain is trained to find out some brilliant ideas during the
yeah.
game, which
Oh,
is very,
here we
very
have the
important.
position. Yes, you can just, right, please.
Right. So here I played king into e7, he played king h4, and very surprising, here I already saw the winning idea, which is kind of very brilliant. So which involves, bishop sacrifice for just one pawn, and my opponent actually could not understand it till the end that why I had given it. And this game became quite famous because of this idea. Yes,
It's a very interesting end game study, actually.
g6, g3, king h6, yeah, should be 5. And he was quite content that he thought that I was not bad. But the thing is, I wanted to get into this position on 30th move itself. I had already previsioned this idea, bishop into a4.
Right,
And surprisingly, this bishop is not able to stop this pawns.
correct. And this is a clear, I mean, here
I was
it's,
very happy about this thing because I had never solved a study where involves this just pawn and bishops.
right,
Actually, I was very, very happy when I was able to vision the ideas. So in those days, as I said, it was the growing up period. So I used to get brilliant ideas quite quickly, and I was always known for my quick play because normally I
yeah.
used to get less than 20 minutes, maybe one in 100 games.
Correct. So, was it that you had any specific preparation for rapid games, or you used to study for the end games? Any specific study you can say, you should develop in the end game, any something like that?
So it's endgame is all about continuous work. You have to develop your intuition a lot by studying lots of classical games played by great players like Karpov, Capablanca, and Kramnik, and all the other things. Only then you are able to develop your intuition and feeling of the end game. And secondly, you have to solve lots of studies because end game has like tremendous amount of tactical ideas, like I just showed you. Unless you're solving studies, it would be like impossible to find out, because basically in chess you have to create a position. For that you have to build up things in advance. It's not just going to pop up just like that unless it is very lucky. See what happens when people solve positions, it's easy because there's a solution. When you're playing a game, you basically have to create, you have to get into your opponent's mind, you have to think both ways. So slowly, step by step, you have to create situations which work out in your favor.
Right. So, Tejas, I mean, you played a lot of national A's.
Right.
We are going to go to 2003 now, in a
Right.
short while.
Right.
To all the viewers, National B and National A. National B is the championship where uh, all Indian state selected players play, along with corporate players. And from National B, there are top 13 players selected to a national A. It's a very, very difficult event. It's a very top event because from there, Olympiad and team and everything is selected. So in those days, National A had a lot of weightage for the Indian team. And I think there's no one else as many as National A played, maybe from Gujarat. I mean, there are very less players who played more than 10 in India actually. Okay, and Tejas is one of them who's played more than 12 national A's. So let's go to the game against SV Singh in 2003, which you played and which you won with black convincingly.
Right. So here actually is I always used to have excellent performance in national championships. The thing is again my opening preparation was quite good. I always used to have lots of new ideas. So here see, and as I said, those days it was not very difficult to defeat 2350s, 2400s. It was possible because not everybody used to spend their time and energy on the openings. So here this idea was actually pre-devised by me before the game in my preparation itself. This is a very classical position of Nimzo Indian, in
Right.
which White's main idea is to open the position with two bishops.
Correct.
So after Queen C and Bishop B2, Rook E8 was the idea I had found before the game. And I had, I mean, normal situation would be White is going to take CD5, ED5, C4 and open both the bishops. But in this particular case, this idea is not correct. But he could not understand my plan, and he just, went for the natural plan of CD5, ED5 and C4.
Right.
D0 bishop was CD4, and here again he did not think and he made a move very quickly, knight into D4, which is a blunder. Because after knight into D4, queen into D4, if he takes, he has to give a piece, because idea was if he takes queen into D4, then rook E4 and he loses the bishop.
Correct. So I mean,
Yeah, then it was very easy. But main thing was on 14th move that he could not take the knight back. 15th move, 14th move, yeah.
correct.
15th move he could not take the knight back with the queen because
Correct.
of rook E4. This is the idea which he completely missed.
Right.
So I used to have those days lots of novelties prepared with white and black, especially in all the main lines, which is very very important. When you're playing important events like national championship, those days used to be round robin, so everybody used to come extremely well prepared. It was very important to have lots of new ideas in your repertoire, which was very very important.
So you again, preparation part again, we are focusing on that everyone is was well prepared those days. There
Right,
were very less. I mean, the literature was not that much.
right.
We didn't have that many computers from where you can prepare. Not good
So
software.
2002, 2003, we already had reasonable softwares,
Yeah, I
and
said
we used to
reasonable.
have
I was just comparing
uh,
with now actually, where
of
I
course,
can.
now, of course, yeah. So those days you had to prepare with the engine, but you had to be very careful with it because sometimes engines also used to make some kind of errors, which are, deep sacrifices it could not see. So what normally you should do is you'd actually not look at the evaluation, but just analyze till the end. So idea is yours, but you use the engine to see whether the idea is actually working or not.
No.
So that know-how of technical knowledge is very very uh, important. That, and normally with strong players it's not very difficult because you see most of the ideas that you create are with the instinct or your intuition which has developed throughout your career, thanks to
Correct.
the amount of preparation you have done, amount of games you have played, amount of games you have seen and analyzed.
Right. Before
But
I
preparation is extremely extremely important.
Before I just go to this Ramesh game again, which was 2003, where you really played a well game against RB Ramesh, and
Right. Actually,
you
2003 National Day was, I mean, a lot of interesting stories because this was the first National Day, I think, which we had 24 players and we played 23 rounds in some 18 days. So,
oh
such kind of a marathon was never heard of. It was only heard of in the historic I mean, Soviet, area era there where used to have some 25 round robin games which used to go on for months and months. But this was one of those National Days which was
exactly
like crazy. We were just playing and playing and playing and playing
right.
non-stop. Those days
So
already again two rounds had come, so it was very very tough.
obviously yes, because you are playing the most premier championship, and then you
Right,
2 rounds a day becomes very difficult. And I
right.
think the time control was not 1.5; it was 2.5 hours, if I'm not wrong.
No, no, it was 2 hours 40 moves, then 1 hour 30 moves, and
Yes, so
1 hour
it's a
20 moves, and then half an hour. So it was a long time
long,
control those
long
days.
time control. So it was really,
Right.
energy. So before, I mean,
Yes.
I would just want you to compare very differently. Before going to this Ramesh game, that
Hmm.
you had this game today in today's world where you had to prepare to play
Right.
against RB Ramesh, and
Right.
so how would you? What would you do if you have a game today against him, and what would you prepare and how would you prepare?
Basically, you have to just study whatever games he has played, especially the recent ones. See, which openings are his little. I mean, the opponent is kind of uncomfortable with or unfamiliar with, and which positions, which is you are also a little bit familiar, because if you both go into unfamiliar territory, then you don't know. So you have to go choose something which is more familiar to you, which you may be a little bit more prepared compared to his preparation. So that's a lot of analysis that you need to do, and then again your decision has to work also, because you don't know, everybody is working, right? So maybe that position could have already been worked out at home with him. So this is what happened actually in this game, because I actually deviated from the main line, because I saw that he played a system which was not supposed to be uh, so good, and he actually went in the system thinking that I didn't know there was a trap involved in the system, but I
Right.
actually very well knew the trap involved in the system, so I didn't fall for the trap, and then the position just became clearly better for me.
So it was Sicilian opening.
It was knight c3 bishop b5 system.
Yeah.
So this system was popularized by Tiviaco in those days.
Right.
And here
The
also I will also talk about, just go a little bit further, d4 and knight g4. So here again he underestimated me. So just go one more back. So yeah, d4 knight g4. So
right.
it is very important not to too much respect your opponent also, because it's not necessary that his calculation is correct. So he played knight g4 thinking that knight into d5 is not possible, because he just simply forgot about the 19th move, bishop e4. So this is very important. What happens many times when you play strong players, you think that okay, if he has made some move, that it is to be correct only. But no, you have to check and you have to back up your calculation. And if you find there is some flaw, you have to just go for it. You should have that amount of confidence into you.
Right. So, okay, I'm also taking one question over here. I got an email regarding the same.
Right.
As you rightly just pointed out that you don't respect that much about the calculation. Chess is a game of judgment. It is a game of
Hmm.
calculation. So,
Right.
how does a player determine that how much his opponent can calculate? How further he can calculate, and so one has when one is sitting in front of the board, and if he has to take that decision or to take a judgment, how does he do that?
So basically, you have to just calculate half move more than your opponent.
So yeah,
That's the benchmark.
yeah, that's the
So
benchmark, but
thing
how
is,
would you come to
it's
know that
very
how many
that is
steps he's
see
calculating or how many variations he's calculating?
that you will never know, right? It is based on your intuition, and that is why, see, calculation is something very similar to maths. You can be quite definitive in lots and lots of situations, so you got to back it up, and you have to push yourself. What next, what next? Of course, here if he wanted, he could have seen it. It's not that he could not have seen, but it's about your judgment, which will
Right,
develop over a passage of time. It's not going to happen overnight, right? It's
right,
about the judgment, that you should have a feeling that no, maybe there is something more in the position, maybe I'm missing something, maybe I should look a little bit further, and that is where you will be finding. So here, after his idea was, after bishop f6, if my rook moves, he will take the bishop, and he's completely fine. If I go rook f5 or something, he will take the d4 pawn, but he completely forgot that bishop e4, bishop f5 pins the queen, so he cannot touch my rook
right.
on the 19th. And then of
Now
course
it is
now
very
it's very
now
easy. Yeah.
it's very easy
So
to
as I
score the
said, see,
numbers.
2002, 2003, I used to be quite strong in finding lots of tactical ideas, lots of brilliant ideas, and trying to find out flaws in the opponent's ideas that they would try to do.
Right.
So you see, I was regularly defeating grandmasters,
Yeah.
in every tournament, and that was very much. So I knew that I was kind of close, and it was
Making.
just one that punch through. I need to finish it off.
So in which year in which year, in which tournament you made your first GM now?
First GM nom was 2000 in the Asian Juniors that I won.
Okay.
Second GM nom was 2001 December, the first Saturday, which was actually the
Oh,
strongest in the history, where Humpy also played. In
right.
fact, out of all the players who played there, all are grandmasters. At least three are 2700s, others are 26, 2650 players of
Wow.
That's thing.
And you
And
scored a
then
norm over there.
yes, I won the tournament and I
Brilliant.
scored a norm over there.
Right.
And then the final norm came in one of the strongest
Yeah.
events possible.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, 3 years down the line, you are playing in form. Again, those years were golden years in terms of uh, your performance.
right.
Uh, Actually, I was looking at your profile and I don't know where I can really say that this was a peak period because you have achievements every 2 3 years you have a new achievement. You keep on adding feather to your cap. So I
Right, right,
cannot say it was a peak period or something like that between 98 to
right.
2004. But
Yeah, it was quite good because I mean, I was either, doing good in national A championships, or I was winning some international opens, or I was coming close. So I always used to have reasonable performances in most of the events. Or,
exactly.
some of the events I used to create some brilliant ideas which would then become famous at that point of time.
So
So I was doing something here, something there, which was contributing towards my progress.
So 2001 to 2003, I mean, again, no GM norms between those. Uh, what was your mindset? What were you telling yourself that 3 years will? Did you question that will you be a GM, or you just had this positive attitude which you always carry?
Sure, I definitely had a positive attitude. As far as the question in my mind that whether I would be GM or not was not really, because you see, I already had two norms, and I was always doing something positive in every event. The only
Correct.
thing is I had to find a way I
Capitalize it.
could combine all of them in one event. Because as I
Correct.
said, it is only if you play 9 rounds
Good games.
consistently,
Yes.
yeah, strong in. And the biggest problem in those events was I was losing to some exceptional. Like when I was just seeing through my thing, every time I used to lose to Hari Krishna. That's why I said I had very high respect for Hari Krishna. All the
Right.
other competitors I had a reasonable score with. I used to be able to draw or even win, or Ganguly, Shashik, and other
Right.
players. But Hari Krishna, I used to have a very tough time, and in crucial round you meet this guy. Now, obviously, he's a 2750 plus player, right? So, and that strength, or maybe he was 2600 that time, but the strength was already there. So, those things made a difference, which I really had to, adjust to. But there was one very big kick I got. So, like 2004 Gibraltar, like I showed this 2003 National A, which we got. So, I was finished in top 8. In fact, Ganguly won that event, but he was 1 point ahead in the event, but he lost to me in a very interesting game. But because of that, I managed to get a chance to be in the Indian team, which traveled to Gibraltar. Now, the
Right.
interesting fact is that in that team, I was the only international master. All the other
Oh.
players were grandmasters. So
Oh.
that was a big kick for me.
Right.
Second thing was
Are you talking
Gibraltar
about the team
was
championship?
2004 Gibraltar by
Gibraltar.
final
Okay,
GM
yeah,
now.
your
Yeah,
final GM norm, yes.
right. So that was already a big kick for me. Uh,
Right.
s- Secondly, Gibraltar was one of the strongest events at that time. No tournament in the world was as strong as Gibraltar.
Correct.
Okay, in the starting seeding, in the first 30, all were grandmasters. I was seeded reasonably back. And in the final ranking, from the first 26, I was the only IM who finished at 6th position. Baki 1 to 26, each one of them were grandmasters.
No, I don't want you to jump there right now. First, I
Right,
want you to show your exceptional performance in Gibraltar.
right,
Let's get a game against Grandmaster Ward. I'm
okay,
just going to get that on the screen. Here you go. So he was around 2500, and again very strong from black side. So here it seems that between 98 to 2005-6, you were really had an exceptional results by playing black, because I see that you've defeated a lot of top grandmasters playing black. Uh,
right,
that means it speaks volume that you are really looking for good results where you could score. So let's look at
right,
this game and we can discuss that more.
right. So again, this was Queen's Indian. Again, those days I used to play classical system, Indian and Queen's Indian.
Right.
So the interesting moment came around move 15th.
Right. Let's go to 15th one. Right.
Yeah, so here actually, it's a very classical position with isolated pawn. White is going to slowly concentrate on d4 and try to squeeze me in a long game as king is safe. So I had to find something interesting, otherwise I would just have to hold the game passively. So here normally the basic strategy which automatically any player would follow is if it's isolated pawn, try to exchange your queens and slowly this thing. So for queen e8, I had pre thought that probably my opponent could go queen e5, which is the most natural move, and I had something hidden idea in that, and immediately I played d4.
Right.
So this idea was preconceived by me, trying to basically you try to lure your opponent into something which is kind of a basic and a general idea of the position without seeing the danger of the situation. And he actually fell for this idea because now he's immediately losing the exchange. He just cannot
I mean, he
stop
played
it.
queen f5 actually.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
what?
whatever he does, he is not able to save the
So
exchange.
like if he plays queen e8, it is rook f8, ed4,
Yeah,
nd3,
basically knight d rook d3 and bishop e4 is just gone.
just winning. Yes. And similarly,
Yeah.
if he takes ed4,
Yeah,
it's
knight
as
d rook
simple
d3
as
and bishop e4, and this is the funny idea
gone.
with
Yeah.
which he, yeah,
Yeah. So
this is the
he
exchange.
played qf5, threatening h7 mate.
Yeah, he just tried to be desperate, but of course it was just
Yes.
lost
Yes.
after.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to use lots of factors, psychology factors, which is backed up with calculation, which is sometimes backed up with logical consideration, what your opponent is going to do, which is kind of a very general principle. So you have to keep on devising some kind of interesting thing in the middle game or end game. Yeah, then it's just
Yeah,
easy.
it's just winning. So I think this
Yeah,
was round fifth or round sixth.
yeah, it was round fifth. Yeah,
Round fifth. So,
right,
I mean, what was going through your mind? Because this was a very strong event. You had a very good chances of, making norm. Uh,
right,
so, when you go midway through the tournament and you know that you have chances to make norm, what was going through your mind, or what was your mindset psychological that okay, this tournament I'm going to take it a game by game, but I'm going to score a no norm. So what was
right.
going through your mind?
Yeah, so for this tournament, I knew that the average rating would not be a problem. The surprising factor is out of 10 games, I played 9 grandmasters, all of them
Wow.
higher rated than me. Okay.
Right.
Now, as I said, I had made some changes and I started losing less. So in this tournament, that is the mindset I got. I started making draws with strong players, strong grandmasters, and I got couple of wins with this fellow. So actually, I was pretty much going as far as what was in my mind, as per the target is going. Just preparing, working very hard before the game against all the top players. Then a setback came. I was playing Alexei Drew. Drew was a 2700 player and one of the topmost players at that time,
Correct.
and I lost maybe after 60-70 moves. I mean, it was a long game, long fighting game, but then he overpowered me at the very end. He actually congratulated me that okay, you played very well, but in the end you just made this error because Drew was exceptionally endgame and I made an endgame error which I had not foreseen.
Right.
So now this became very tricky because now I'm entering the last round with a necessary to win the game. Let's say if I had drawn with Dreve, then probably I would just need half point. Half point is always easier compared to a full one. And again, I was playing a Russian Polulyavo who was kind of an expert in this system. Most of the people whoever played the Khan system used to follow Polulyavo's game.
Right.
So anyway, I decided to go with the main line, and I found some interesting ideas. And I decided that I'm not going to do anything silly. What happens is when in a must-win situation, you just go for all guns blazing, and that normally just backfires. So I decided that I'm going to play a long game, controlling game, and wait
And he
for
was a
the right
master of
opportunity
player
to strike.
anyways.
No, no, this was a Khan. He was
He
a
was a
Khan
Khan.
expert,
Okay.
Sicilian Khan. Yeah.
Right. So let's just
Yeah.
quickly.
So I just played all my pieces in the center,
Right.
and I just now he has a few weaknesses. Of course, it's not very easy to exploit it because He has a strong center, but white is slightly better in this situation. But the thing is, mainly you need to have a lot of control on your nerves,
Right.
because one mistake and the game is going to equalize, or it's going to slip out of your hands. So that control of the nerves is very important. Again, you see, I kept shifting from king set to center, king set to center, not trying to break through anything, just trying to keep the position in control and wait for
So you
his
played a
error. But
waiting
he is
game.
not making actually, yeah, but he's not making any error. He's actually making all the best moves. So now I had to decide to push a little bit and try to create a stronger attack.
Right.
So still he defended well. I think he made a mistake around like 36th move or 35th move, where we both were a little bit in time pressure also.
Correct. So,
So
I mean, this
somewhere
is
around,
somewhere around here. It is completely
yeah, yeah. So it was like 39 move, right? Those days, I mean, I don't think Gibraltar had the increment factor, so
correct.
it was 40 moves in 2 hours and stuff like that. So it was important to make this move, but he just missed probably this knight f7 check or stuff like
On
that.
the 30,
Probably when he played queen f7, he thought that he's attacking my king, because again my king is coming in on e3. The e file is open, his rook knight are there. But I had already considered that it was my king was safe and he was having problems with his king.
correct. Right.
Yeah, I think he missed this knight f7 check when he probably made queen f7, because
Correct.
that f7 square was well controlled with the queen and rook throughout the game, and suddenly the knight from nowhere is going to jump on f7 was something probably would have missed in his initial calculations.
Right. So here, this is the game where you got your the final GM norm, but still, after to the viewers who are new or are around 1500 to 2000, you need to make norms and you have to reach 2500 rating to be the what do you call to get elected as a grandmaster, which is declared by FIDE. So, Tejas, do you know that which is the most lucky month in your in a calendar year, which is very lucky for you, or where you had maximum achievements? Any idea?
I'm not sure about it, but yes, I would consider that the birthday month May, I had had some strong performances and strong victories.
Right. You will be surprised that July has made a lot of difference in your life. I mean, you were awarded a GM title in I think on July 19th. At that point of time, on July 19th. See, I'm just posting one image where Mr. Sunil Dutt, I mean, he is awarding you the GM title, but FIDE awarded you on 19th of July. It was declared in Libya, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the thing was, see, those days there were too many errors, because things the results did not go properly. So what happened is I would have been awarded in the previous meeting itself. What happened in one of my tournaments after this, I had to finish my rating points. I had gone to again one of the strongest events, Aeroflot.
Right.
And what happened is in the first round, I played a 2374 player.
Hmm.
Now, I had finished as per my calculation, I had finished my 2500 and I sent it.
Right.
Suddenly, they checked and they did something strange, that the rating of that player from 2074 was dropped to 2180.
Oh,
Okay, so then instead of gaining that 4 points, suddenly became two. So again, I had to wait for those 2 points. So then immediately I played the Parshvanath Open and I got the points. But basically, I finished 2500 in
in
immediately
Delhi,
back-to-back tournaments. Yeah,
back to back
Delhi
tournament.
actually I had to play because of this strange technical error. Because you know in Aeroflot group, the group was only 2350 above players only could play. So how could a 2187 play itself was a strange thing. But those days there were used to be lots of technical errors and things used to get had to go back and forth. And Delhi tournament result actually did not go in that list, went in the other list. So that is why actually it came in July. Otherwise, it would have actually
Yeah, but
come in everybody's head.
it was awarded in. I'm making a point. Officially, it was awarded
I
in
know, I
India.
know.
Yeah,
I
so
know
I
that,
mean,
yeah, I know.
there are
Because
a
I
lot
had to
of
do a lot of correspondence that, with all this thing.
yeah, exactly,
So because
and
in April they gave me a provisional this thing, which was like, what? I already completed everything. What do you want?
yeah, so exactly. I mean, you were already making national headlines after you won the championship. You got this grandmaster title, and here I have got couple of articles, online articles from Times of India, and Rediff at that point of time that you were making that. So becoming the first grandmaster from Gujarat and 11th in India, you must
Right.
be on cloud nine. I mean, how did you really? Because I see a lot of youngsters. We've seen that we always talk about why India does not have players in top 100, only three or four, despite having a very strong grassroots. So you being on cloud nine after being the 11th, only 11th grandmaster in India, what was your thought process? I mean, how were you thinking about taking it forward for your future? What was in your mind?
Yeah, firstly, I was extremely happy because a dream that was manifested good. It took almost 13 years and lots of effort, massive efforts rather. So mainly I understood that is basically for, I mean, I was happy to do something for my state and also for my country. But
Right.
what I, realized it that at the and even after that, the struggle kind of continues, which lots of competitors of mine also had to face. Because normally, when you see, you become the only Grandmaster of Gujarat, right? The first. So
Yes.
you should be actually be flooded with everything. Future should not be an issue,
Correct.
right? But
Correct.
nothing of that sort happened.
Right.
So
I
uh,
mean, obviously, yes, the exposure at that point of time and things were not there. So, still, in terms, I understand that as a player, you faced a lot in terms of your achievements, and that was never highlighted. I mean, while looking at all these things, I clearly understand that your journey has been really difficult in terms of getting sponsorships. So that is the reason I just called you the legendary status, because it's not easy. The way we speak for Vishwanathan Anand, that he had to go a lot through his initial phases, and then how he became world champion, we all know the story. But uh, everyone has their own part of story and own part of success, and that is what I'm trying to go through this show, that what your journey is all about. So again, we are going to talk about a very important moment in 2004 after you became a grandmaster. I think it was the national team championship. Okay, and
right, right,
you were the captain of Air India team. I mean,
yeah,
and you won the national championship for team Air India. I have
yeah,
just displayed an image where Air India puts very proudly on their page, you being in the center of this image. So
right,
what
right.
happened in 2004 during the team championship? Very strong, because petro companies play players like Ganguly, Shashi Kiran, everyone participates in that team championship.
Right. So normally, I always used to have phenomenal results in national team and nationals. I always used to do where good where it matters the most, you know. So in fact, in my very first national team championship in '99, I had won a gold medal on board number one. I always used to play board number one for India. I mean, those days it was India Airlines. So in all the team championship, Petroleum always used to field the strongest team, which was kind of the Olympiad team. So they were always winning. So in 2004, after I finished my grandmaster title, I was all you know kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
pretty much motivated, and I had like a phenomenal result on board number one. I almost scored like 7 bar 8, and even my teammates that time gave a good performance. And what happened is we managed to win the championship first time in the history. Other than Petroleum, someone was taking the title away from them. Of
Right.
course, following, I mean, we again won in 2010
10.
too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
after that, of course, the railway stream has won that. But I mean, at least I would say 80% of the time, it's always the petroleum who has won this event.
Right. So let's again go to a game from 2010 where you played against Arun Prasad in that.
Right, that was again from the national team championship, which was a very crucial
Yeah,
round.
which
Again
you
from,
won.
yeah, Black Pieces, and we were able to defeat Petroleum.
Right. So here is the game
So it started with a normal semi-Slav kind of,
structure. Yes.
yeah. And here I played this interesting bishop c3 and bishop c3 and e5. I basically had checked his opening report and found that he had not played a single game with this position. So I decided to test him in this because Arun Prasad again those days was pretty
Very
strong and he was
strong. He
known
was
for his
known five
opening
six seven.
preparation. Yeah, he
Yes.
was moving very fast and he was known for his opening preparation.
Right.
So I had to get him into a little bit unfamiliar territory. Yeah, so here actually he was happy because he has got two bishops again, long stable advantage, and I was kind of satisfied because he had to waste some time for his king safety, and I fancied myself in the weak light squares. Yeah, so
Right.
here I think he missed the move rook e8, after which all my pieces are suddenly dominating the position. He had completely missed that his rook on b1 is hanging, and I can simply play rook e8. And after that, he has kind of no chance. Positionally, this position is just winning, and I played a good endgame without mistakes, and I converted the position.
Right. So this clearly
Yeah, and
you
2010 is
stood.
also very interesting because in this was the time where Parimajan Negi also had joined our team for just that one particular year. So you see, I had a very strong backing in the team also. So when I'm playing on board, creating these important victories, it just makes things easier.
Right. Uh, Playing all sort of tournaments. You won a lot of international open rating tournaments outside India in US and Canada. I am not
Right,
able to
right,
cover all the content. There are so many uh, uh, there are so many tournaments that you have won outside India.
right.
Can you just share a couple of them and any if you have any interesting story about the same?
Yeah, US tournaments are very difficult because they have 3 rounds a day. So their stamina comes into tremendous play. And the biggest thing is what I saw when I initially started playing was that those players in US, nobody plays for a half point there. Everybody plays for full point. Everybody plays for money. They don't play for titles and stuff like that. So it was a completely different scenario and a completely different environment.
Right,
But I have a very good record in US. I mean, in fact, Canada, I have played 3 tournaments. All the 3 tournaments I won. I have played 2 round robin events. I have played one open event. So the main difference is also that the conditions and the environment there are excellent. The playing conditions, the atmosphere outside. Those things also make a lot of difference.
yeah, and now let's come to the most exciting part. I mean, now in today's world, franchisees and leagues are very important. So Abhijit Kuntev came up with a very interesting idea. He started with Maharashtra Chess League, and I mean, he pioneered the first league.
Right,
And you were selected. I mean, there are a lot of grandmaster and upcoming players who played in that league, and you were a part of Ahmednagar Checkers. But what
right.
really surprises me is that you haven't lost a single game. I mean,
Yeah, so let's coming to this interesting thing. Like Abhijit Kunte was the first one who started a knockout event in 2006. It was the strongest event of the country, and I defeated Ganguly in the finals. In semifinals, I defeated Abhijit Kunte. So he has always come up with some exciting ideas. I would have wished that knockout format would have continued because it was a very, very interesting and exciting event.
right.
And then he started this chess league, which again became extremely popular, and it was a rapid format. And I have very good results, as I said, in team championship. I always had good results. So again, this was kind of a team event, and also it was rapid, so it was my favorite format. So in the 2 leagues that I played, I was undefeated in all these things, and all the top players of the country played in that. So I had some very interesting and
Yeah,
exciting
yeah.
games where I could create
Let's take
a
one
lot of
position
ideas.
against G Gopal. Here is you with black in
Right.
that particular game.
Right. So you see, we solve a lot of studies where we allow the opponent to a queen and then we just make a cool move and opponent cannot do anything. So
Right.
again in this, and we were just playing in like 1 minute each we had, but I had already seen that idea a few moves before, that I can just allow him to queen and he can do nothing. I will simply take his second pawn
Right.
because there is no check and nothing like that. So I had lots of interesting games and ideas in the league, and it
Correct.
was, I think, one of the best events which was conducted.
Okay. I mean, let me bring up one more position from the league where you can just, it was against Srinath actually.
Right.
It was a game and you smashed him in, I think, 20 moves, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me just quickly bring that up for you so you could discuss that. Okay, here we go. So here you have the game of Srinath. I mean, one second. Yes. So it's English.
Yes, yeah. So I mixed. I used to, after becoming GM, I expanded my repertoire and mixed up a lot of openings. So it was not easy for my opponents to come prepared.
Right.
So yeah, here he played this idea which was very well known to me because as black I anyway used to play this idea. So I knew that knight h6 was not the right idea here. And with h4 h5, immediately white gets a strong hold on the position. And here he made this mistake of castling. He thought that there is no attack, but actually it's kind of game over.
Right. And
And
so,
this position you would see in most of the books when you are growing up, the bishop f8 idea against the dragon bishop.
right.
So I was very happy that I could actually get
Just
that
it was easy.
idea
I
working
mean,
for me. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, the
bishop
bishop
f8 is
f8.
one of the. So it, I
Correct.
mean, I would have won with any moves, but winning with bishop f8 was like really
Correct.
fun.
Right. And I mean, your experience with leagues as a
Right,
franchisee, you haven't lost a game. So I
right,
mean, before even beginning of the MCL, Sagar
right.
Shah from Chessbase wrote a very interesting article on MCL actually, and he
Okay,
mentioned about you in that article that with your experience,
right,
I mean, it is going to be very cool for Ebennegar Checkers that you and Abhijit Kunte together in one team
right, right,
can really make a huge difference. I'm just for the viewers, I'm just pasting it. It mentions in the last time still when I saw Tejas Bakre, he would play at such breathtaking speeds that offer he would just use five of the stipulated 25 minutes. So I mean, what he says is that you were really quick in the first MCL and the second MCL. He also mentioned that this is mainly due to your wonderful sense of intuition. And
right,
I mean, there are a lot of articles written, but I found this really catchy about you, Sagar talking about this entire event. And what do you think about the future of leagues? This is a very interesting topic trending, and we see IPL really, has made cricket as a sport a very big sport. Not to the main big players, but the small players are also getting a lot of name, fame, money. How does
yeah.
it? Ah,
So basically, see, leagues are the way forward because it makes the game exciting, interesting. It brings in a lot of exposure, and especially good for the youngsters because they are able to play in the same team as senior players. So as I said, even in my growth years, when I used to travel with all the top players of the country, it was a huge experience for me, and that really helps you propel your growth, and that motivation that the seniors give you makes a big difference.
okay. I mean, we are coming. Your MCL is going on. You are active on a lot of fronts. I'm going to talk about second fronts. I'm sorry, viewers. I'm going to take 15-20 minutes more from Tejas because there is so much information that I could not cover. And for us, this is the final frontier from his side. But I'm again coming to your playing. I mean, your hunger has never gone down to play. In our last
Right,
conversations, you still said that if I still get a chance, I want to come in top 100. And you've been proving over the years. I mean, see, you are the only player. I mean, the achievement which you got in 2017. Let's talk about Commonwealth. And the
right,
Commonwealth happening in India. I mean,
right.
no. no one from Gujarat ever won a senior medal in Commonwealth, and you participating 2017, where the motivation is not like 2000 to 2004, where you are becoming a GM. Did you really think before going to play Commonwealth?
Yeah, so actually, see, my motivation is very high whenever I play championship, where I have a chance to win medal for the country. Like I have played two, three Asians, where in fact one Asian I was undefeated, and the other Asian I just missed the World Cup by half a point, where I had to win against the legendary Eugene Toure, the first Grandmaster of Asia.
Yes.
But the game ended in a draw, and I missed the qualification by a very small margin. Because my tie break was just a couple of things lower. Only top 10 used to qualify, and I probably was 12th or 13th. So, all these events like Commonwealth, Asian, I'm always fired up and motivated to give my best and do something. So, again, to the 2016 Commonwealth, also Sri Lanka, I actually had a very good start. I was actually some 3.5 bar 4, and I had a good chance, but then it fizzled out. So 2017, I was actually fired up, to try something, and I got a chance because you see again, I let it go up to the last round. In fact, in the penultimate round, I drew with Abhijit Gupta in a
Yeah,
better
yeah. Let
position.
me let me just come to this
Yeah,
because that is
right,
brilliant. I mean, he's known Mr. Commonwealth because
right, right,
he did a hat trick of Commonwealth when you won the bronze medal 2017. It was his third title for, I mean,
right,
the hat trick of titles for Abhijit. So he was in his form of his life, and
right.
you were playing him to, I think it was the second last round or
Yeah,
the third.
penultimate round.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a penultimate round, and you drew with him. So
right.
before the round, did you really fancy your chances to win the medal?
Uh, I always basically believe that you should be in the striking zone. So basically, if I win in the last round, that you win a medal because if I see my history, wherever the last round win situations are required, I have always scored and I have always got the medals starting from my junior days. So whether it is national championships or whether it is qualification or whether it is this thing. So I fancied my chances that rather than taking a big risk with Abhijit, I thought let me go in the last round and I fancied my chances there. But only thing is last round I actually played with one of the most solid players in Indian chess, Tej Kumar,
Tej
who also I
Kumar,
think I think
very
he
very
became a
strong player.
grandmaster that year itself in
Yeah,
2017 only. So,
yes.
and I had got the black pieces.
I
So I
think
mean.
he also won the national title in 2017 because he was
He,
really in
No, no,
great
he
form.
became Grandmaster in 2017, I think so,
Right.
if I
Yes.
remember it correctly.
Yes. Yes.
So again, we just played a balanced game. Again, White is marginally better because of Black's weak pawn structure, but nothing great is happening. And here he came with a strong plan of H4 G4
Right.
because now it was time for him to do something if he has to, because we both were trying to play for a result.
Correct.
But what happened is that after this move, he went into a decision of going into opposite color bishops, where he thought that his pawns are more advanced, he has more control, my piece is back, so he fancied his chances there. But actually, it turned out to be a problem for him because I just quickly brought my pieces and immediately started attacking his weaknesses.
Right.
And he also came under time pressure, in
Right.
which he completely missed my idea of queen c1, and suddenly he is having problems after queen b2,
Right.
and then of course it was quite quick.
Quite quick. He just simply
Yeah,
won it,
right.
and as a result, we have the only Commonwealth medalist in Gujarat. I mean,
Actually, again, this tiebreak has always been a problem for me because actually I tied for silver medal, but Vaibhav Suri's tiebreak was better than me.
I think he
So
didn't.
actually, I got bronze.
No, no, he scored 7.5, if I'm not
No, no,
wrong.
he scored seven only. We both had same. Only
Only
Abhijit Gupta
Abhijit
had
Gupta,
7.5.
only Abhijit Gupta had 7.5.
Yeah.
Right,
Actually, he got last round somebody who was like 300 points lower than him.
right.
Otherwise, we all could have tied for the medal.
So here is a glory moment where you won the bronze.
Right, right,
We see Abhijit in the frame and Vaibhav too.
right.
Uh, right. So this is also I mean big moment because I still don't see I mean the future obviously for Gujarat is bright. You are in a better position to comment on that. But
Right.
this there are a lot of records on your name. I don't know who's really going to come up and stand up and say, hey, I'm going to break Tejas's record. Like there are a lot of people who's breaking think about breaking Sachin's record, like Kohli and Sharma, but
Right. Right. Right.
even Vishy's records. So there are so many records which I just tried to bring up over here. So
Okay.
the your playing career has been really interesting.
Right.
Any anticipations or still things you want to achieve as a player?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, firstly, the first and foremost is whether I'll get to play and when will I get to play. And then we will talk about
Right,
the other things, because right now, for the next 6 months to 1 year, I mean, online, of course, they have started the Olympiad and all, but what I'm talking about is physical in person games, you know.
right. Okay, now coming from playing, I want to tell viewers that Tejas has a lot of hats. Okay, I mean his contribution in success of Gujarat players, India players. I'm going to come to that part very soon. Has been tremendous. Any player who plays has an aspiration to coach, because to play at the highest level you need certain sort of not even in terms of financial, but sometimes coaching also helps you to gain. So Tejas, when did you actually start coaching? Do you remember that?
So basically, I always like to, share my knowledge and insights with all the youngsters or players, whoever, wanting to. So we used to do. I remember we used to do lots of small camps where a lot of people can gain uh, knowledge, and people who are ready to work hard, I would obviously show them what the path is. So throughout my career, I have actually trained and helped lots
E-
of youngsters who have gone on to achieve good
Exactly. I
titles for the
let
country.
me share something. One of our viewer who's also viewing right now, who's been a secretary and right now is the vice president, Mr. Mayurbhai Patel, was always keen to come upfront and do coaching camps from his one of his academies, which was Fisher
Right,
Chess
right.
Academy. And I think
Yes.
I remember this broad moment back in 2000 when you did this camp in Sun and Step Club. I think he organized this camp, and I've just put on my certificate because it is
Okay.
really a memory. Do you remember this kind of things? I
Yes,
just
yes, of course. I know because he used to organize camp. I mean, we used to do it almost every year in summer or something, because he
right.
was very active in doing lots of activities, tournaments, camps, always associated whatever is related to chess. So Mayur Bhai has always been quite active in doing all kinds of activities
Correct.
related to chess. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, why I'm just sharing this certificate is because for me, when I started playing in the year of 98, 97, 98, and attending a Grandmasters camp. At that point of time, we went international masters in
Yeah, that
Gujarat.
one. Yeah.
In Gujarat was a big thing because we never see what title player. It was a very important camp for all of us. So uh, this is, I mean, I'm just sharing that this was the moment where I started seeing you, not even as a player but coach. But since then, you've made a lot of progress as a coach. I know for a fact a lot of Gujarat players, I mean, all topmost players after your our generation has been trained by you in some or the other way. The likes of you've contributed in careers in the likes of Ankit, he becoming GM. Uh, Before he became GM, you also did a camp and you helped him personally as well. Fenil, because Fenil discussed a lot that Tejas Bhai has done a lot of contribution. Dhyani, there are a lot of youngsters who's also trained by you in from generations.
Right.
Namra, I mean, a lot of
No, I actually trained his brother Karma, not now. Yeah.
sorry, Karma.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of 2200 plus players you've produced, who has been passed on to you by their respective coaches, and
Right.
you've
Right.
trained, and they have really made. Coming to and they all were state champions actually. Coming further to national champions, I don't know whether the viewers know about it or not. He's produced a lot of nationals. Even Hetul Shah was his prodigy. I mean, he hold his hand when he defeated. I think Hetul was 9 years old
9 years
when
when he defeated a
when he,
grandmaster.
yeah, and Tejas was coaching Hetul at that point of time. So Tejas, can you speak a little about your journey as a coach and how important for coaches, because this is going to be very important for the beginners and the intermediate coaches who are listening to you, about your coaching journey and what is important in that aspect.
Yeah. So firstly, for training, you need to really like to, share your knowledge and give the best to the kids you are working with. That is first and foremost very, very important. Secondly, it's also depends that how much the kid is interested and how long is he willing to continue the game. It's very important that they have a time frame in mind of at least being in chess field for 7 to 10 years, because based on the individual's approach the results will vary. For some players it just took one session and they just got all three norms in one, this thing, IM norms. For some kids it took couple of years. For some kids they immediately went and won the national title. For some kids they immediately went and got a medal in the world titles. For some of the players who are missing, IM norms or GM norms, their final GM norms for 2 to 3 years, the way I was stuck, I helped them with just a week or 10 days training, and they were able to uh, manage. They just managed to crack it. So first and foremost, every individual is different. So it's very important to understand the psychology of the kid, and then you set a training program for them. Program for them. I
Yeah.
mean, in Gujarat, actually, we have lots of coaches. Everyone is doing a wonderful job, because we see in a tournament, we just organize, even in a day's notice, we suddenly find 500 participants. So now a lot of training is being imparted. Secondly, now we are doing a lot of coaching for coaches program, in which all the coaches are being given the latest update on the technologies. We share the material with them, which in turn, helps the kid to kind of get what is the best material, what is the best way which he should, work on, self train and move forward.
Let me just throw some more light to all the viewers. I mean, you must not be aware about this, but Tejas as a coach has helped a lot of Indian players. I saw a couple of videos where I think no, not Shardul, where the grandmasters actually credited you. You can YouTube this, Tejas, for all the contribution. I think the latest sensation which he produced was the national champion. He just became. He's from Delhi, right?
Yeah, yeah. Aradhya Gaur from Delhi.
Aditya Gar from Delhi.
And Vantika Agrawal, he won World Under 18
Yeah,
silver
Vantika
medal
just
last
won.
year. Yeah.
Exactly. And there are a lot of US national champions he's produced. He travels to US every year and he coaches there. So he's a very famous in terms of he's got a lot of success. Why? That's why this all things are not being published. I think what I'm going to do after this episode is for 100% going to create a wiki profile where everything is updated in terms of, because this is a quite inspiring journey, not as a
Yeah,
player.
mostly actually in every continent I have a champion, or every country I have a national champion who have represented country in their worlds, or even whatever Pan Americans or European championships and all.
Right.
So
Yeah. So that's great as a coach. Now I'm going
right.
to quickly come to the most. See, why I just told you at the beginning of the episode. I'm going to compare Rafael. I mean, the second best fighter that you being the top player from Gujarat. I mean, administrative hat was always going to come on your uh, stuff. It all started with 2010 world record, which we created under the leadership of our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and Vishi Anand. They both mastered the entire idea, and you were there helping in a technical part and stuff. Can you just, I mean, that there is where your journey began. What did you really feel that you will enter the administrative part and do this Guinness Book of World Record? See, I'm just sharing one image of Guinness Book of World Record which we did. This was just the administrative part where you all together created this wonderful show,
Right.
and we created this Guinness Book of World Record.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting when the government actually suddenly called to have a meeting, and then they said that we want to uh, create this where, the basic idea was to take chess to the masses, that every single household starts to know chess, because it's actually a very, very useful game, especially for all the kids for their personal and professional development, whichever field they go. So then it was a mega effort because we had to gather 24,000 people, and we had to
22,000. Yes.
22,000 and we had to also get at least 1,000 strong players who would be, playing with them. So it was kind of a absolute mega effort in which the government, the association, all the districts, everybody got in together to make this event possible. And then, of course, somebody flew from the Guinness this thing, and they observed the function, and then, of course, this Guinness Book of it entered into the Guinness Book of World Records. So then on, of course, the actual real journey where the
Yeah, I will just
admission,
come to that.
right?
This is the
Yeah,
image where our beloved Prime Minister is being handed over the Guinness Book of World Record with Vishy Anand and Tejas along with that in that world record, which standard actually a very important what do you call message because there were 20,000 chess players, and from there this all began. Indian stuff all began. I mean, Gujarat bubble started, and
right.
then came a master stroke because uh, I'm going to share the image of the person, two people who created this master stroke by convincing and bringing him to the table. I mean, convincing Tejas to take away his playing dreams and build a future of Gujarat was a huge task because again he was always wanted to play for India and playing keep on playing his dreams. So these were, I mean, the two most important people who turned around Gujarat chess. So it's the president Mr. Ajay Bhai Patel and the secretary Bhavesh Bhai Patel, who's changed the entire stage in Gujarat, where first he gathered all the players and brought them into the association, and Tejas, you were elected as the vice president because he convinced you to come upfront and do that. So what happened, and how did you really agree to that to come on the forefront?
Right. So I always wanted to, contribute to the development of the game in whichever way I could. And, I saw the vision and passion of Ajay Bhai. So it was, like very easy to, join the board. And what made the difference was that the biggest problem that I faced as a chess player in most of the places was the basic playing conditions. They were very, very poor. Uh, I mean, even in the topmost tournaments, it used to be a massive problem. And this is what changed completely because Ajay Bhai put in his heart and soul, and we got the best of the conditions where most of the international tournaments kind of, take place. Now, this made a big difference. And then Bhavesh Bhai again was a very, very enthusiastic person who put his 24 hours into the game, trying to, make everything possible, working with the government of Gujarat and, getting uh, funding for the players of the state, getting arranging the coaching camps, arranging tournaments, and he was running all this while. So this, what happened is the entire team. I mean, even you were a part of the team who used to be, even at odd hours, you were ready to come, go anywhere, and do everything possible for the tournaments to be a big success. So basically, you see, and we had even other two members, Mr. Jayesh Bhai Modi and also Mr. Rakesh Bisha, who is
Current
so
president.
current president. So what happened is that every single member of the team had only one goal in mind, that we must organize the best tournaments. We should give the best facilities for the players. Players should not suffer at all, because that is what, as I said, that you see, when as a player, as a growing up, if I would have got even 10, 20, 30% support from various things, it would have just propelled my journey. Maybe instead of 2004, I would have become grandmaster in 2002 or
Correct.
2003 or even further, maybe even 2001. Who knows, you know?
Right.
So this is what today we provide a platform for the players if they are ready to dedicate uh, their time and efforts for practicing in chess. Then all the infrastructure is ready, the government support is ready, the association is always there to support them. We are, in fact, we started even organizing international grandmaster
Yeah, yeah,
tournaments, so
exactly. So I was just coming to
players.
that after
Right.
Tejas came to the meetings, Ajay bhai always Tejas attended all the meetings, all the government briefings, and on record, whatever he used to propose, the president used to just implement like this. And as a result, with the very hard work of the secretary, Mr. Bhavesh Bhai Patel, and the vision of Ajay bhai along with Tejas, we did around 8 nationals in last 3 years, 8 to 10 nationals. We did two international grandmaster tournaments, and for the very first time, we also organized the World Youth Olympiad in 2018 December, where it was
Right.
the very first international event which happened without any sort of complaints, which was really, I mean, lot of people spoke about
See.
it and it was very positive. So we were we now our Gujarat has been considered after 6 or 7 years of hard work. It's like go to Gujarat in terms of organizing tournaments,
Right.
facilities.
Everybody, in fact, every single friend of mine, all GMs, IMs, they just want to, come and play in Gujarat whenever they get a chance. And they're actually looking forward. They're always asking me, when are you organizing next? When is the next
Exactly.
event?
So that
So that's
administration.
the entire change. That's the big change. And earlier, it would not be very easy to find people. And now, if we just announce a tournament, suddenly we have like 1,000, 2,000 people, just ready
Yeah,
to
yeah,
come
exactly.
immediately.
I mean, I
So,
just want to tell viewers that this all administrative, I mean, being a grandmaster, it's just not about playing. When you go right at the top, so like bringing Rafael to the country does not mean the MiGs are not good, but bringing Rafael to the ammunition is something like you are just sitting right at the top. And like Ajay Bhai made a masterstroke by getting Tejas in the panel, and now we have plans for the future. We are working on the on kids. Like one frame you can see there are different programs where Vishy was invited for a interaction and a chess school, Sanskardam school. They did it, and Tejas was hosting, which was actually live on Doordarshan Girnar channel. So all this Tejas being in the administrative hat, how do you feel? I mean, we've done a lot of coaching camps together when it comes to calling Ubilava, Vladimirov, whom you got trained from. Shekhar Sahu has been placed permanently over here. So that all changes have been brought and coordinated together. So, Tejas, any point of view from you, people listening, that what a grandmaster or a chess player being in the administration can bring forward?
yeah, basically, you see, most of the top players, whenever they join the administration, the first and foremost, they want to see that the future generation do not have the problems that they faced while growing up, and that is the key factor which makes a huge difference. But the thing is, if we don't have, a president like Ajay Bhai, who is always willing to do whatever is positive and do it in a bigger and a better manner, then it is very difficult, because we will obviously suggest ideas, but the thing is, to get those ideas into motion, you need to have the government and corporate support, and then to make the idea success, you need to have a secretary like Bhavesh Bhai, and also his team
Team.
who is ready to do everything. So that is why this entire team and joint effort is why Gujarat chess has become successful, and the Gujarat State Chess Association has been doing a wonderful job. And the thing is, we have been actually producing lots of good players who have been gaining lots and lots of ratings. We are getting titled players, we are also getting national champions. So Gujarat chess is really progressing very well.
Right. Thank you, Tejas. I mean, I have still so much data, but I just want to cut it off over here because I can go
Right,
on and
right,
on and on about your career. I just
right.
have couple of questions from the viewers. I'll take it quickly and then we can
Sure.
end the session. So Mayur Bhai says, can you please suggest some important books and software useful for the development?
So first and foremost, ChessBase is very important for having your repertoire in organization. Plus, you need the games played by all the players, which comes in the form of mega database. So it helps you in studying and organizing your games and data. Books, as I said even previously, Mark Dvoretsky books, John Nunn books, Jacob Agard books, step by step, you need to do it. And first and foremost, you need to get that anthology or I mean encyclopedia of chess combinations. And there was a very interesting book which I don't remember if I mentioned, but Domination in 2545 Endgame Studies by Kasparian. So these were these amazing
It
books
was a
which had.
brown color book, if I remember, because I
Yes,
did that.
yes.
Yeah,
It had this amazing ideas with the minor pieces, which which will help you develop your imagination in chess.
right. There is one more question from actually Neve Patel. Sir, from where we can get chess studies? Any book or site?
Yeah, as I said, you can search for this domination in 254 and game studies. Then you can always there used to be studies with Kubel, Holmov, and all those people. Nowadays, material is easily available. You can probably check on the chessbase.in site where they have a lot of books which come in. I'm
Right.
sure you would be able to find them.
Yes. So one question was also like that, which came through WhatsApp was, where can I get good chess books?
Right, nowadays actually you can get all the material easily. You can just go to chessbase.in and they have the books and latest softwares which you can download or they will just deliver it to you. So nowadays finding material is not a big deal at all.
Right. One question I get, which is the best book for beginners?
Book for beginners. So I think in India you have this Praful Javeri's chess
Chess
course,
course.
which
Yeah.
is quite popular because he has given few examples of different
Correct.
themes. So you can start from that, and then you also have this Arthur Yusup's
BCO.
nine book. No, Arthur Yusup's nine book series.
Yeah.
Build your chess, boost your chess, and fundamental or excelling in chess. So that's a nine-book series, which is again very good for the development of the game.
I think when I started, it was BCO too. No, BCO was just basic chess openings. So
Yeah, yeah.
BCO. And the last question from Dawal, which is the opening that you like from white and black?
So white I always used to like one e4 because it used to always have fireworks. Again with black I used to love Sicilian, which has always been my pet. This thing again, which is all about attack and counter attack.
Yeah,
So I always used to like dynamic play.
dynamic. Yeah. Thank you, Tejas. I'm sure that you know that the legendary strategy, you've been so humble to everyone, and I mean you have a lot of achievements, not just as a player but as an administrator and as a coach. Hope we all grow together, and really thank you for giving the time and stating your journey. I have learned a lot during this time. I'm sure that viewers have also done that. Viewers, I would please I would ask you to like the video and share it as much as possible, because this is a knowledge right coming from the top player from Gujarat. So thank you, Tejas, on everyone's behalf.
Thank you, Ankit. Everyone have a